without telling me and without me having control over that.
I'm not actually saying anything of the sort.
That's what net neutrality would do, though, is to say the ISP can prioritize what they think is the best traffic for, either for their own purposes or ideally even for me. But even in the ideal case, when they're doing it to benefit the customer, they're still making their best guess about what my choice would be. They're not providing that tool to me to say, on my local connection, what do I want to prioritize?
There's nothing in what I said that indicates that they would not be telling you about what they're doing.
I acknowledge that. Sorry on that point. Yeah. And the other thing is, just my understanding of net neutrality is not that they'd be directly in the local pipe, but they'd be charging the providers different amounts. And that's the part of net neutrality. Not that they can't charge for access, but they can charge different amounts. Am I wrong on that, or is you correct?
That's the dangerous thing that people are scared about.
Okay. So the reason net neutrality worries me is, like, if you have, say, Google and Yahoo as being the two dominant search engines. If Google, let's say, pays up a lot to SBC to get faster access, or let's not use Yahoo, let's use some small startup company doing search using some new technology.
Can I recommend another pair that I think you'll like better?
Sure.
Wikipedia and Encyclopedia Britannica.
Thank you. That works much better. It didn't but hit a point. Okay. Look, Wikipedia can't afford to pay for that faster access. Encyclopedia Britannica can. So potentially, the lack of net neutrality could drive something like Wikipedia entirely out of business just because people aren't going to wait for it. They're going to go with what they can reach. If you can reach Encyclopedia Britannica in under a second, and it takes 20 seconds to load a Wikipedia page, which are you going to go to?
So now we've finally gotten beyond the basic issues of net neutrality, and now we're at the heart. This is the thing that, if it were to happen that AT&T really was charging providers, and it was really noticeable to users, and by providers I mean content providers like Encyclopedia Britannica and Wikipedia, if they actually started doing that, then that would be a really bad thing. And that's the thing that's the difference between where I'm coming from and where they're coming from. I think that is possible now without net neutrality legislation. I also think it's likely to be possible with net neutrality legislation, because you can't effectively legislate about technical things because people will work around them. If there's a lot of money in that, they will find a way to get that money. And the flip side of it is, if they start doing that, it becomes a much worse connection for you to use. You like Wikipedia. I like Wikipedia. I don't know about you. I love Wikipedia. If my Wikipedia started being slower than somebody else who had a different connection, or if my Wikipedia started being slower and I have the $20 DSL as opposed to the $50 DSL, oh wait, it already is actually, but if that were to be the case and it were because of net neutrality not being effective, then I would either switch providers or there would be a major public uproar. And then we would get legislation that's targeted, or even better, we would get FCC rulemaking that's targeted at the actual problems instead of imagining what problems might come up, legislating something that's not effective.
Let's have the uproar in advance. That's my opinion.
I don't think it would be, I think it would be more subtle than that. I mean, I really do. I think that the difference between Wikipedia and Encyclopedia Britannica probably would be somewhat, wouldn't really be something you'd notice. I think what you would notice is if the Encyclopedia Britannica broke out with lots of multimedia content, and Wikipedia couldn't. I think you'd notice it because we're really not talking about web pages. We're talking about convergence, what Victor mentioned. More audio, more video, more multimedia things that we haven't even thought of yet, that take lots of bandwidth. Not our everyday web pages. I don't think blogs are going to be something that's going to be filtered, right? And it's going to be when you want to watch the high definition video versus the low definition video or the stuttering video. When you believe what you're paying for is this connection to the internet, and you go to one site and it comes down just fine, and you go to the other site, and it doesn't come through. That's where you're gonna see it. It's not today, even though it might be today, but it's definitely as we move forward, as we try and get out of the stone age of the internet that we still kind of are here in the US and move towards where these places like South Korea and Finland are.